I know not everyone's going to like this, but I'm afraid this channel is about to experience a change in direction. From now on, I'm going to be a recipe channel. That's right, I'm going to teach you recipes. Today's lesson is how to make an atheist. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well gosh darn it, who makes a good atheist? Maybe it's, oh I don't know, it could be Carl Sagan, Richard Dawkins, or maybe even Stephen Hawking makes a good atheist every now and again. But I'll tell you what, those answers are wrong. You know who makes the best atheists? The churches. The Catholic churches even. They make great, awesome, bitter, dejected atheists that are so firm in their disbelief of everything Christianly. You've got to make sure to follow my instructions exactly on this one, or you might not even make an atheist. You might make one of those hipster wannabe Buddhists. And those are good and really chewy. But this video is about making an atheist, so make sure to follow the instructions. But if that sounds like more what you're going for, may I recommend the chocolate chip agnostic. Delicious. Most atheists will tell you that what makes a good atheist is rationality, logic, and an open mind. But that's actually not true. Those make good atheists, don't get me wrong, but what makes a really good atheist? Bad parenting. Now, let us go over the ingredients. You're going to need a bunch of measuring cups, just pretty much every size. A cheese grater. I don't recommend cheese, but you know, you are going to grate things. So, put that in there. A Catholic nun that doesn't take any shit. Crap. Has a good ruler hand. You yourself are going to need a firm backhand. A nice, new, firm leather belt. You need to put it together like this and go like this. And you hear that snapping noise? That's how you know you got yourself a good leather belt. You're definitely going to need one of those. You're going to need a jar of complete lack of intellectual fortitude, peanut butter, and at least a dash of hypocrisy. Now the first ingredient is 1/4 cup intelligence. You're going to need that because you're going to need the ability to rationalize and intellectualize a little bit later in life. And if you don't have that, then it'll turn out to be like a fundamentalist or something dumb like that. Take that 1/4 cup intelligence and you're going to put it in a small mixing bowl. And you're just going to mix that up. You're going to mix that up when they're like 5 years old and in Sunday school. And throw in like 2 eggs in there as well. The complete lack of intellectual fortitude peanut butter, that's actually for you to prepare you to make the atheist. You're going to want to just get a big knife scoop of that and give that to whoever, you and whoever else is helping you make that atheist. Church, nun, friend, neighbor, living boyfriend, stepdad, you know, whatever. I want to get a big mouthful of that complete lack of intellectual fortitude. And just let that digest in your system. Okay, now when the mix is 12 years old, it's going to start asking questions. And at that point, you're going to want to throw in a 1/3 cup of don't ask questions. Stop asking questions. Now, you know what's going to make that atheist extra delicious? Just grate in a little Catholic guilt. Just take a little Catholic guilt and just grate that right in there. And pretty soon they're going to be like, why do good things happen to bad people? And instead of giving a rational answer to a young mind that is starting to think rationally, you say, read your Bible more. Don't use any rational explanation in connection with religion. Just keep spouting the same old crap that your preacher told you. Okay, now when your recipe's about 15 years old, it's going to want to start hanging out with various friends from school and everything, and some of them are going to be just a little shady. And you're going to say, you can't hang out with that person because they're not a good person. Do they like even go to church or whatever? And this is, and by the way, it's very important that you base this on absolutely nothing at all other than perhaps physical appearance. This is when you start breeding resentment. The most delicious atheists have amazing resentment. This will work extra good if the friend in question is actually a good guy, and like maybe he's just like a little more liberal than most people, or he dresses funny, or his parents are Unitarian Universalists or something. Sometime right about now, the questioning from the brewing atheist is going to get really intense. It's like going to be like really like kind of intellectual stuff. And then your response is you have to get angry. You have to get angry and be like, we raised you to believe in God, you will believe in God. They'll test you to see if you still love them, like either way, or if your love for them is dependent on they're believing in God. They're gonna be like, well, maybe I don't believe in God. Well, what would you think of that? And like maybe they'll just be proposing it at this point. But what you say is, young man, if you don't believe in God, then you don't get anything for Christmas, and you're grounded in your room all day.
All of a sudden, there is no God.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, you want to know there's no God? Then you're going to get absolutely nothing. Nothing for Christmas. Christmas, because that's what Christmas is about, is Jesus Christ!
Some people are under the theory that that's how you make a good Christian, but that's actually how you make a good atheist. One of the key ingredients is in that moment of contention, you got to add a full cup of complete ignorance and lack of empathy. And you just stir that right in there and add about 68 more eggs. You've got to make sure to completely ignore what the Bible actually teaches and replace that with tradition and shallow cultural values. Because if you put what the Bible actually teaches in there, you might end up with a liberal Christian. And in this case, we want an atheist. Make sure that you get angry at any kind of questions. By now, your atheist is simmering in the oven, and he's about 17 years old. Now this is pretty important right here. At this point, he's going to be slightly dejected already, and he's going to start to listen to music that displays this dejectedness. It fits him as a person. And that's just natural, you know. You listen to the stuff that fits you as a person. Now you have to constantly listen to like really lame stuff like Genesis and Yanni, some old Amy Grant. And then you can, whenever you play it, you can complain about how Amy Grant doesn't make Christian music anymore. The actual notes, harmonies, and melodies are completely irrelevant. It depends on if the subject matter fits your specific point of view. That's how you define good music. If you go into the atheist room, you'll probably find these CDs anyway. You actually don't have to go get them. They'll just be there. The greatest examples, of course, are going to be we got some Marilyn Manson. This one's called Hollywood. It's got some very specific themes that some view as anti-Christian, but they're actually not really. But you have to ignore that. You have to ignore that because he looks creepy. So despite whatever the actual message was, you have to ignore that in lieu of your own interpretation. 9 Inch Nails is another thing that you will probably find. And this is a good one too. This is actually Stabbing Westward. Here we got some Deadsy and Placebo. And these are instrumental because these bands don't even really talk about God. But because this cover looks creepy and kind of goth, you're going to throw this in the garbage with Marilyn Manson and the 9 Inch Nails. And this is the same deal here. These guys look like Marilyn Manson, or at least you're gonna say that they look like Marilyn Manson, even though they really don't. You can't acknowledge that. You have to be like, this is weird, and I don't want you listening to it. And here's Placebo. They're not even like that at all. But like, there's a half-naked chick on the cover, and the lead singer is kind of girly. So you just wait till Wednesday morning, about 9:56 a.m., and just chuck them right out in the trash right before that there garbage truck comes. And then you give them an Amy Grant CD and tell them to listen to that instead. At this point, they will be like 18, and they're going to want to move out, and they're going to hate you because you're a son of a bitch. And that was all part of the recipe. They're going to hang out with the people that don't remind them of your douchiness, and that's going to be people probably that don't believe in God, because believing the church, everything, that's going to remind them of your douchiness, and then they will be completely dejected from that. Obviously, this recipe takes about 18 years. I pre-made mine. Mine's in muffin format. We're just going to see how it is. You know what? I did this. You don't have to, but I think you should do it. Put some coconut in yours. I can actually see the memory ingrained on this muffin's brain when you were on your way to church when they were like 15. I don't even know if I want to go to church there. Everyone's mean there, and they don't seem to treat me like they do everyone else. And you turned around and you go, "You shut your mouth." I can see that right here. I'm gonna eat it. It's so dejected and bitter. Okay, now that we've got that over, I just want to outline some don'ts. Make sure to completely ignore the stuff that Jesus taught. Only teach tradition, 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 tradition. Because if you follow what Jesus taught and you try to teach your kids that, then you'll find that you have to love these kids no matter what, because Jesus teaches unconditional love. And that, well, let me tell you, that'll just totally ruin the atheist. It won't even be an atheist. You need that hypocrisy in order to make a delicious atheist, or just it won't be an atheist. If you want to make a Christian, if you want to make an intelligent Christian, you can also include valid intellectual responses to their intellectual questions that will start breeding and budding when they're about 12. See, because if you're making an atheist, it's essential that you respond with that flawed logic and intolerance, so they associate these negative aspects with the religion. For a real treat, when that atheist is all done, you just spread that thing full of butter and just put a dash of cinnamon on that and just eat it. Just eat that atheist. Mmm.